Okay, I'm going to review my Ninja 650, a 2,674 mile edition. We're going to talk about a few things: comfort, suspension, engine, and my overall feel. I don't know. Comfort wise, I'm 6'3". I'm sitting vertically on this motorcycle. It is extremely comfortable, and I absolutely love the ergonomics. I was watching a review on YouTube where some guy was like, oh, I'm 6'2" or 6'1", and when I sit on this motorcycle, my legs feel really cramped. Okay, the way I'm sitting on my motorcycle right now, with the balls of my feet on my pegs, with no adjustments to my rear sets, it's extremely comfortable, and I have no idea what this guy was talking about. I love the way the handlebars are positioned, because when I want to be sporty, all I have to do is just tuck in, you know, and just let it go. But another great perk to the way these handlebars are positioned is that if I don't want to be sporty anymore and I'm tired of leaning over at 45 degrees or more, I just sit straight up. I got my arms straight out. I'm extremely comfortable. I can cruise on this bike. I can tour on this bike. So now that ergonomics are done, let's talk about the engine of this motorcycle. The engine on this bike is a parallel twin. That means it's a 2-cylinder engine. Now what that means is that the 2 cylinders are literally right next to each other. They're not in a V formation. They crank up and down. They're both facing the same direction. With a 2-cylinder like this, you get a lot of grunt and a lot of torque down low. Another good thing about this bike is that the power band is extremely linear. I could be at 2,000 RPM or something, and once I lay on it, it'll just go. It's a linear feeling in terms of power. It'll just pull and pull and pull and pull and pull until it gets like 8,000 RPM, and then it starts to kind of like whittle off a little bit. On other bikes, on super sports, there's like no power until you hit like 6,000 RPMs or something, and then the power of the bike just punches you in the face. It comes out of nowhere. In terms of practicality, I think this bike has everything going for it. And now that we've covered the ergonomics and the engine, let's talk about the suspension. Again, I watched a review on YouTube comparing my beloved 650 to some other great 2-cylinders, and the thing that they said about my bike that I found really weird, other than them saying that, oh, your legs are cramped and I'm tall and it hurts, is something about the suspension. So I adjusted the suspension, the rear suspension, because you can't adjust the front. I adjusted the rear to my weight, and I already got a significant difference in the way that this bike handles. The front suspension, you can't really change. Now, this other review that I saw, they were saying constantly that, oh, the front suspension, you have no idea what's going on with it. You just have to lean your bike and have faith in the turn. I have absolutely zero idea what the hell this guy is talking about, because I can feel exactly where my wheel is, and I can point it and put it wherever I want. Oh my God, every time I ride this motorcycle, it blows my mind that it just has just enough juice everywhere that I want, and it's not overpowering. It's not to the point where it's completely insane. I also like the way that the center of gravity is pretty low on this bike. I also have a Tiger 800 XC, a 2014, and the center of gravity on the Tiger is like up around my crotch. It's like way up high. So when you're leaning, it's like, oh, you feel the bike lean with you. On this bike, I feel like the center of gravity is way low. It's probably something to do with the like 25-pound exhaust that comes with this motorcycle, but it just works. So I've touched on ergonomics, I've touched on suspension, I've touched on engine. I guess we could talk about modifications. In my walk around video, you can see that some of the modifications I've done: levers, RNG fender eliminator, Yoshimura frame sliders, GI Pro heel tech gear indicator. That's what the GI stands for, not gastrointestinal. And I think every one of those mods has been worth it. 100%. I love this motorcycle.